welcome to Perception Media. I am your hostess, the Cinegeek, and today I'm going to be talking about Hulu's Castle Rock Episode 8, Past Perfect. And I apologize in advance, I'm using natural light, and it's like 85 horrific degrees in my apartment, so I might die. So we're reintroduced to this couple from episode 4 who were looking at the Lacey house with Molly. And we find the husband's name is Gordon, and we learn that he was a teacher, and I don't know what the wife does, and I don't know what her name is, but they're played by Mark Herlick and Lauren Bowles? And they're weird. So they bought the house, and they're moving in, and they are setting up like a historical haunted bed and breakfast, which are actually kind of popular. I don't know why they're making it seem like it's this novice idea. If you've ever been to Savannah, they're all over the place. There are a lot of them in like Kentucky as well. I've been to some in Georgia or outside of Savannah and California. And I mean, there are a lot in Louisiana as well. Like it's not like in any way, shape, or form like a new thing. They're all over the place. But they're acting like it's this big grand idea, and on their first day, they get a couple, but I'll come back to them. So they're going around the house and they're setting things up. They set up like these mannequins to recreate some of the murders that have happened in old Warden Lacey's house, and they also, mannequins are creepy, and they also go down into the basement, which was teased in I think episode 2, and we find that Warden Lacey has been painting portraits of the kid. I don't know if he was painting like one a year, but there were dozens of portraits of the kid, Bill Skarsgård, and it is just like the worst kind of stalker. Like they make A from Pretty Little Liars look so tame. So anyway, going back, he sets up the pictures all over the house, and they get their first couple paying customers, and Gordon like loses it and butchers them. And then the wife comes in and she's like, oh, it's okay, we'll bury them, it's fine. We'll cut them up and bury them. I guess the couple that murders together stays together, straight out of like H.H. Holmes style of hotels. And I wanted to mention that his name is Gordon, which is a reference to episode 5 when the kid is walking around and he goes into a house and he sees this memory of Gordy's birthday. I think this might have actually been his memory, which would explain maybe why he's so psychotic. At least I hope so. Gosh, he's so weird. So then we're cutting back to kind of like the end of episode 6, where Molly kind of senses Henry is in the filter and in trouble, and she goes out to Odin's trailer to save him. And we see kind of a cut that Odin has been murdered, presumably by Willie. I don't know if he killed him before or after he was corrected, which means I'm assuming that he was deafened or not. I'm not certain. So I don't know if he like lost it after hearing the schisma, or if he was too afraid to hear the schisma. By the way, Odin is very dead. And Molly breaks him out, and he seems fine, and they drive home, and he just seems kind of out of it, but not really different. And this episode should really be titled Henry's No Good, Very Bad, Horrible Day, because he is just having a time. But he seems to have forgiven Molly for admitting that she murdered his father in episode 6, and they hold hands, and it's kind of touching and cute. I like it. So, you know, again, what's a little murder between lovers? It's fine. It's fine. So Henry goes home, and unlike how we last saw his house in like a total wreck, it is completely squeaky clean and pretty silent, and he goes upstairs and he finds his mother Ruth is sleeping, and he comes downstairs to find the kid, Bill Skarsgård, just chilling, making breakfast, like one does. I also wanted to reference that the fact that they call him the kid, I didn't even get this, is I wonder if it's a reference to the Colorado kid in Haven, because wouldn't that be cool? And going back to where I was talking about before, sorry, I digress so much. So the kid, Bill Skarsgård, leads Henry out to Pangborn's body, and he says that he wants to protect Ruth. And immediately, Henry at first thinks that the kid killed Pangborn, but then he realizes, no, it was his mother who actually did it. And the kid, Bill Skarsgård, says, "Do you hear it now?" "You do. Finally. We have to go to the woods. I waited for you. I waited for 27 years. I rescued you from that basement. And I didn't ask for any of this." And then he runs away because Wendell has come home and called the police on him. And the police all think that the kid has killed Pangborn. They don't really seem upset Pangborn's dead, more just like angry. And the one cop, very unprofessionally, is just like going on this diatribe about Henry and how Henry is actually the one who's kind of bringing this all this darkness to the town, and they used to call him the Black Death. Racist. Anyway, I have a theory. Okay, so Lacey heard the schisma like Matthew Deaver. And Matthew Deaver, because he was, maybe had that brain tumor, I'm assuming, he was unable to do what was needed. And so Lacey was kind of tapped into doing it. And then Lacey locked Henry in his basement to lure the kid, Bill Skarsgård, in. And then that's when he was trapped. And so he was basically essentially trapped because he was rescuing Henry. And it kind of coincides date-wise. They were both disappeared and found and captured, not in that order, in January of 1991. So Henry disappeared, the kid was captured, and when the kid was captured, Henry reappeared and was found by Pangborn. So I think the cage that Warden Lacey built, and I've said this before, is kind of like a Faraday cage. And so a Faraday cage is very, very basically like a metal cage that's grounded with some equipment, and it is created to eliminate like electrostatic and electromagnetic disturbances or influences or fields. And this kind of tracks with my bird theory, and my bird theory, which I'll come back to later, is that the birds are all flying around and hitting things because how birds navigate is they use the electromagnetic field. So this is being, with the kid being back, it's creating, and out of the Faraday cage, it's creating a disturbance in the electromagnetic field, and that's causing the birds to go kind of haywire. It tracks. So I've been a little bit far in like this metaphor relating time to the electromagnetic field, and it's a little complicated, but kind of stick with me. So what if time is like a direct current, meaning it only flows in one direction, and it has a static charge? Okay, so if you have a disturbance in this, this isn't how electromagnetic fields work, by the way. So this is not science. This is very much science fiction, and I'm creating time as kind of a metaphor using the electromagnetic field, okay? So what if there was a disturbance or a disruptor, let's say the kid or Henry, I'm not really sure which, and that would cause a change in the current. So now we're going from a direct current, positively charged in time, to an alternating current, meaning it can go forward or backwards, and the charge can change as well. And what if Ruth, I don't know why Ruth though, that doesn't make sense. I don't understand what's going on with Ruth, and that's actually why I didn't do a review of episode 7, because that episode didn't make any sense. It was beautifully made, but it doesn't make any sense for the narration. What if Ruth is trapped in this alternating current, so she's able to go forward and backward, and that's why the schisma exists, and it is the hum. And it is happening because there is a disturbance in this electromagnetic like time force, and it's creating the alternating currents, the time varying currents, and there are time varying currents, and that's what an alternating current is, and so they need to repair it, and that's kind of goes back to the definition of the schisma, which I will have linked above here because I'm not defining it again. It's complicated. This is probably not right, but wouldn't that be interesting if it was? Henry puts Wendell on a bus, and he tells him he'll go to Boston to visit him in a few days once he gets finished, making sure his mom's okay and all that, because, she just kind of murdered her lover. Oops. And so that's when the birds hit the bus, and that kind of reinforces the kind of idea that I had. But not surprising, when the bird hits the bus, Wendell hears the schisma, and he takes the bus to Jerusalem's Lot, which is another fictitious town in Stephen King's Maine, and it's apparently 25 miles from Castle Rock and 45 miles from Augusta, which is weird because I've actually seen it mapped where they think it is, and most people put it a lot closer to Augusta. But whatever. Fictitious map, fictitious map. I'm not great at geography. It's actually my worst subject. So Henry goes to Warden Lacey's house, and he finds Gordon and unnamed wife, and they try to kill him, but he forces the wife to kind of stab herself, so she dies, and then Gordon attacks him, and Jackie Torrance comes and axes him in the head, which is the best reference this show has done by far. I loved it. Jackie Torrance killing someone with an axe is spectacular. I'm for it, and they were creepy anyway, so I don't mind. But while he was in the house, he discovered the multiple pictures that Warden Lacey had painted of the kid, and he found one that was basically him. It was a portrait of the same, what do you call it? The same pose and shirt Henry was wearing in his missing persons poster from 1991, except it was of the kid, Bill Skarsgård, which is really weird. And then he kind of remembers what the kid said, and he's very confused by it. And then that's when the whole killing thing happens. And then it cuts to Molly has a vision of herself being dead in the woods, and she takes a couple blue pills and drives. Don't drive under the influence, kids. And she arrives at her house to find that the kid, Bill Skarsgård, is there waiting to talk to her, and he says, "I don't think he's ready," referring to Henry, "but you can help me because you know me." And she says, "No, I don't know you," and he kind of starts telling her things that only she would know to kind of illustrate that he in fact does know a lot about her, or he can read her memories, kind of like she can read Henry's. And then he explains, "I was out there in the woods. That's where you died." So that's interesting. But he looks so sad, and I don't think he's harmful. He's so sweet. And when he got up on the stairs, he kind of winced, and he's holding his arm sort of like this. So I think he's still injured from when Ruth stabbed him with the Phillips head. And I'm worried for him. I like him. I think he's a good kid. I don't think he's evil. But I don't know. My lingering questions are, what is the kid? Who is the kid? What's the schisma? Why can Ruth not hear the schisma, but she can time travel? I liked the last episode. It was beautifully made. I would love just a movie about that, honestly. But it created some plot holes. Why can she sometimes interact with the past and sometimes not interact with the past? I don't understand that. And then what does the kid need Henry to do? What is it time for? Has what begun? Why is Henry important? Frustrating. We only have 2 episodes left, and I have no answers and only questions. Yeah. Thank you for watching We Need a Moon Knight movie, and have a wonderful day.